So the jobs and the trades are absolutely excellent. And we talked before about how those jobs are things that are needed in the world today. They're jobs that you don't have to have a huge education for to go spend tons and tons of money into lots of debt for college. And instead, they're jobs that you can jump into and get going really quickly. But one of the things that we don't always talk about is what happens when your body starts hollering back at you when you get up into your 40s. Because when you look at it, when you're in your 20s, man, you're blowing and you're going and you're absolutely invincible. When you get into your 30s, you're one of the top earners, you're doing awesome and you're killing it. By the time you get into your 40s, all of a sudden some things start to kind of holler back, and it can become a little bit frustrating. It can start to hurt. Your back starts to hurt. Your knees start to hurt. Different things start to hurt. So what do we do when that stuff starts happening, and how do we prepare for it, and how do we not just walk through this life hoping for the best? Because whether we like it or not, it is coming for us. So the first thing we got to understand is that we don't actually own our bodies. I mean, we do, but we don't, right? So when you're young, you're invincible. You can jump off the tailgate. It doesn't matter. You can lift things, you can lift kind of wrong, and it's okay. You can just go, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Most of the time when we get older, 20, 30 years down the road, the things that really begin to cause us some serious problems are not because we just decided to do something wrong one time. It is a cumulative habit of things that we have done over the years where we're like, it's fine, and we just do it anyway. So that's the first thing we got to understand, is that we're kind of just paying rent right now on our bodies. And so these things, they're different. They're different than just a regular white collar type job. In a blue collar field, there are things that we're doing. We're twisting, we're turning, we're doing things, and we're living off of ibuprofen and monsters. And if we're not careful, over time, we are going to pay the piper. So then the first thing that we do is we say, okay, well, I know how to solve this problem. I'm going to go into management at some point. I'm not always going to be a guy that's turning the wrench. At some point, I'm going to go into management. And that's very true. Okay, when you get into your 40s, there's a good possibility that you've got a lot of knowledge and a lot of skill. And if you spent some time studying leadership and understanding leadership, there's a good chance that you will end up in some type of management. And so when that happens, we have to understand that it's not just as simple as I'm going to go into management and everything's going to be fine. This is something that I personally have kind of noticed and kind of ran into over the last few years. And this is what I think that nobody really talks about. When you go into management and the trades and you've been in the field for a long time, what happens is you go from being the guy that was turning the wrench and swinging the hammer to all of a sudden you're the guy that is keeping things organized, you're running with people, you're keeping everybody wrangled, you're doing all of the back end stuff that nobody else wants to do. And the problem is, at that point, you're not white collar enough to actually be in the office and to feel like a quote unquote office person, but also you're not quite blue collar enough to feel like you deserve to be out in the field anymore. So it's a really, really weird paradox to be in. And so while your job also gets physically easier, the mental part of it changes, the hours change, things get different. And so all of a sudden you look at it and maybe I'm not necessarily, again, the one that's turning the wrench and swinging the hammer. And so I don't have the physical pain and the physical hurt that comes with that. But I am the guy that's having to spend a lot of time trying to keep all of the projects going and all the things happening. Because that's the part that I think gets overlooked sometimes, is that there is a mental fatigue that happens. And it is absolutely different than a physical fatigue. Don't get me wrong. But it is still very real and very tiring. And when you come home in the evenings, whether you like it or not, if you've spent 60% of the time at the desk and the 40% of the time out in the field with the guys checking on jobs and all of that stuff, you weren't swinging the hammer, you weren't turning the wrench, and those kinds of things, but you are mentally exhausted when it comes down to the time that you're going home for the evening. And so again, it's not a perfect answer, but it is an answer that I think is something that will happen to a lot of people as you get older, because it's kind of a natural progression. If, and this is a big if in my opinion, if you spend the time learning and studying leadership and understanding that leadership and being the boss are two totally different things. So if that scared you off a little bit and you go, well, I don't know for sure if I want to be in management. Well, here's something else you can think about. You don't actually have to necessarily go up and be in management. A lot of people think that that's the next best step and that's the only logical step. And while it does happen for a lot of people, it's not necessarily the only step. A lot of times you can go laterally into a different field that takes a little bit less of a toll on your body. All of a sudden, maybe you're going to go in and you're going to be an inspector. Maybe you're going to go in, you're going to be some kind of a project manager or some kind of a back-end engineer or something like that because you've got a lot of experience. You can lend a lot of credibility to the fact that you know what you're doing, and then also that helps a lot of people that are in those roles that are designing and doing those kind of things. So those are some other jobs that you can really think about when it comes down to it, is that we don't necessarily just have to be in management, but that lateral move sometimes for a lot of you guys is actually going to be where it's at, because you're still going to feel like you're contributing in a different way without having to keep so many different people wrangled and deal with some of the headaches that can come with management. Because you have to remember that the best designers are not the ones that have the fanciest software and tools and things like that. Sometimes the best designers are the ones that have the experience, the ones that know why these things don't work, even though on paper it looks like it should. When you can go in with your knowledge and skills that you have and you can say, hey, I know this looks like this is going to work on paper, but trust me, here's the 3 reasons why it's not going to be. And the guys in the field that are younger than you that are out there doing this thing, they are going to love you and they're going to thank you when they've got somebody like you in the office that can help keep this thing running and help keep this thing to where it makes a little bit more sense, the way everything kind of runs and operates from an engineering standpoint, design standpoint, and those kinds of things. So really what you want to do is you want to stop getting paid for your back. You want to start getting paid for your hindsight and the things that you know and the things that you can contribute again. And sometimes that is just a simple lateral move rather than just trying to climb some kind of a corporate ladder that, let's be honest, a lot of us don't necessarily want to have to do. Now, here's a real problem I think that kind of happens in a lot of companies. If you started, let's just pretend in 2006, and back then you were 25 years old. Well, in 2006, when you started and you were basically, you were kind of seen as a kid. Let's say you were in your early to mid 20s. Sometimes there's kind of this whole like no prophet in his own land kind of syndrome that happens. And it's hard to ever be seen more than the kid that you were in 2006. And so if you're at a company, I would say if you're at a company for more than 15 plus years and you're not being recognized for any leadership skills or any management skills, if you really do want to be a part of management rather than going laterally, here's what I would say. You have to understand a couple of things. One, read everything that you can find on leadership. Study everything you can study on leadership. Podcast, books, all of it. You got to live and breathe leadership because, again, leadership is not just being a boss. It is actually managing people and is leading people. There's a huge difference. So that's the first thing that I would say. If you're doing all those things and you're just being completely overlooked, here's my next suggestion. Start looking outside of your own company. And what this may mean is that you may actually have to change your zip code to actually be able to change your job and move up to where you would like to go. Because for some reason, sometimes in companies, they don't really always see the value of somebody that's been there for 15 or 20 years. And instead, and we've all seen it, we've seen the guy that comes in from some other job. He was in the oil field in Saudi Arabia, and all of a sudden he shows up and he's the expert. And now all of a sudden this guy's my director. He's never worked here a day in his life. And so that kind of stuff can happen, and it can be frustrating when you're in the field and you're going, what's going on? Like, I've been applying for these jobs. I've shown them that I can do this. I can show up, all this stuff. And we've got some guy that just showed up and all of a sudden here he comes. He's working at Philips or OG&E or some other company out of nowhere. And he just comes over here to our company and all of a sudden he's my boss. And that can be frustrating. Sometimes that's what it takes. It takes going to another place because you can be recognized differently. You're no longer seen as that kid. When you put all of your stuff on a resume, people don't know you from Adam, and you go to another company, you all of a sudden look a lot different and a lot better. And there's a good chance that you're going to be able to be more recognized for the skill that you have. The only caveat here is to be prepared that if you get that job, you're going to become that guy, right? You're going to be the guy that moved into your company that didn't, that came from another company that didn't have any experience here and is frustrated. And so when you do that, you're going to end up with the same thing happening at a different company. You're going to have people that are basically below you on the management levels and tiers, and they're going to be frustrated because all of a sudden here comes this outlier that just comes from out of nowhere, and now he's my boss. So be prepared that that's something else that can definitely happen. Now, another thing that really I think is very important as you get older, you get into your 40s and all of a sudden you're going, I don't know if I want to, again, be the guy swinging the hammer or turning the wrench every day for the rest of my life. And I want to move up into management. For some reason, I'm not being selected in my company. Maybe I'm not, wanting to move to a different zip code. There's a couple other things you can kind of consider. One of those things is just going back to school. So I recently decided to go back and finish my bachelor's degree. I have an associate's degree in a trade, but I decided I'm going to go back and I'm going to get a bachelor's degree from the same school, and it's basically a bachelor's in applied industry leadership. And so I don't need to know the skills of the trade. I don't need to go to school to get a degree in the trade because I know the trade. But I am going to school to continue that leadership journey so that I can get better at the language of leadership, that I can get better at accounting and business accounting and all of those kinds of back end things that happen when it comes to business and leadership and those kinds of things. Now, again, I am currently in leadership at my company, but I also know that there may be some other opportunities eventually that maybe I want to apply for. And so because of that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take advantage of going back to school and going ahead and finishing that degree. And so that's been something that I feel like seems kind of weird. I'm just going to be honest at 45, but at the same time, I think that it's necessary if you've got the time and you've got the funding. And a lot of times companies will help pay for some of this stuff, and so that's always good. There's also different kinds of grants and things that are available through different companies and even state and local organizations that will kind of help for some, like if you're going for like going back to school and things of that nature. Those are things that are also things you can consider because again, I think that anytime that we can learn something and get more knowledge, it's just only a good thing in my opinion. Now, all of those things are great, right? Going back to school, figuring out maybe we go laterally, maybe we go up a level in management, those kinds of things. But at the end of the day, the thing that we have to remember is that even with all of those changes that may happen, you're still going to come home and you're still going to be fatigued. You're going to be tired. You're going to be drained, and you're going to get burnout to a certain degree in some level. And so what you want to do is you want to also figure out a way to kind of have a sanctuary at home. Maybe that's in your shop. Maybe this is your sanctuary. It's a place that you can go. It's your second shift that you can come to and say, this is where I just kind of go and I'm able to just kind of do my thing. And if some days I just want to come out here and I just want to like rearrange bolts and screws, I can do it. And if some days I want to come out here and I want to build a cabinet, I can do it. If some days I want to come out here and I want to fix a piece of furniture that's broken, I can do it. It's a place to come and to kind of move the needle personally so that you feel it just kind of breathes a different type of life into you so that you're not always just feel like that you're just kind of grinding away nonstop for somebody else. You can actually be kind of grinding away for yourself and doing something that just kind of helps to kind of improve overall everything that's at your home. And let's just be honest, that's why we do what we do, is so that we can provide a good life for ourselves, for our families. And so as we do that, we want to also make sure that we're taking care of us just kind of mentally, just kind of being in a good place when it comes down to it. Because for me, the shop is where I remember who I am when it comes to just kind of getting away from spreadsheets and gate codes. And so that's the place that I have to come to have a little bit of sanity. And so, in a world of a lot of digital noise, this is a nice place to come sometimes. Now, my question to you is this, is what is your exit strategy? Are you waiting for a disc to pop? Do you have a plan? Is it something that's on your mind? Do you just go, man, I love this job. I've been welding my whole life, and this is what I want to do until I retire. That may be the case. It's totally fine. But what I'd like to know is, do you have an exit strategy? Are some of these ideas, are some of these things, some things you've thought about? Leave them down in the comments down below and let me know. Let's keep the conversation going.